So if you've ever spent any extended period of time exploring Fallout 4's enormous oceans and waterways, the chances are that you have come across one of these many pipes. Most of us just probably went on to write them all off as remnants of pre-war civilization or something like that, but a closer investigation might just suggest otherwise. Pay a visit to the Nahat Oceanological Center, and in the center's two main buildings you will encounter a series of terminal entries. The first ones we will be looking at can be found in the terminal at the front desk of the Oceanological Society's tourist building, under the signed-in user Jim Prescott. The first entry, titled Goals, explains that the Nahat Oceanological Society dedicates itself to researching the effects of radiation on aquatic life, and states that the organization believes that companies such as Poseidon and General Atomics have gone too far and too unregulated for too long, and that swift and decisive action is necessary to prevent a potential horrible future. And keep in mind, if at any point in this video you'd like to pause it to read the full terminal entries yourself, I encourage you to do so. Get a good look at these. The next entry on the very same terminal, entitled Internal Memo, appears to be directed explicitly towards Jim, the signed-in user, from Dr. Casey Reed, who appears to be some high-ranking member, if not the leader of this organization. The entry states that the Oceanological Society will be shutting down for the last week of October, while the majority of the organization's staff go across the country. Now keep in mind, it was the last week of October that the bombs fell all over America and the world in general. However, Reed continues to say that she wishes all remaining staff use the week to coordinate with volunteers for a so-called blockade of Boston Harbor in protest to end the conflict between the United States and China. So, we gathered from the entries on this terminal that the organization seems to have interest in protecting marine life from radiation, and while the bulk of the staff was away, the nuclear war began. Whether or not this is a coincidence or not, you'll get to decide for yourselves in just a few more minutes. Now, the next set of terminal entries we're going to be taking a look at can be found in a laboratory, and located inside of that, you'll find a terminal that appears to be Dr. Reed's personal one, and this terminal contains various data and statistics in its entries regarding the effects of radiation on marine life. The entries make note on the significant increase of size that radiation-exposed aquatic life suffer in comparison to their non-radioactive counterparts. It even describes that lobsters and crabs exposed to radiation grow up to 14% bigger. And it says that these statistics were sent to the Galaxy News Network, a popular pre-war media agency that even retains a very small presence post-war. But anyway, this organization, or this media agency, completely spins the story. They censor it entirely according to the terminal, and it appears to suggest that someone out there does not want these statistics and this data in the hands of the public domain, suggesting that possibly it's a government entity of sorts, or just someone that really wouldn't benefit from the story being run. But moving on, the final entry in this terminal alludes to extremely high radiation levels in an in-game location known as Lake Quannapoet. Travel to this location and you'll find yet another terminal with entries that only confirm Dr. Reed's concerns, with the terminal regarding the lake's radiation levels as, air quotations here, extreme, and blames the poor water quality on various companies, including General Atomics again. Explore the lake for yourself and you'll find that it's little more than just a dumping ground of sorts for nuclear waste and things of that nature. Now, Lake Quannapoet doesn't prove much, but it does assure us that the Nahat Oceanological Society does have the environment's best interests in its mind, or at least has its interests in its mind, and it lends credibility to their cause, because previous Fallout games had little organizations and entities like this that used their public image only as a bit of a mask. They weren't actually doing what they advocated for, but this lake kind of proves that the Nahat Oceanological Society is at least somewhat invested in protecting the interests of the environment, so to speak, and looking after animals, at least a little bit, probably a lot more than I'm suggesting right now. But if you head back to the NOS, you'll find that behind the laboratory, many of the mysterious pipes that this video centers upon actually start from there. The NOS is the source for most of these underground pipelines. However, these pipes aren't the only things that you'll find intriguing. There's also a very odd-shaped structure that what looks to me to be the entrance to a bunker or some sort of underground complex. Now, at the moment, it's not accessible, but it appears it could lead to something that is, perhaps in a future DLC, we'll get access to really see what this odd entrance sort of thing leads to. Now, anyway, if you follow one of these emerging pipelines, you'll find that they're all dotted with these small lights of sorts that are still lit even to this day. After hundreds of years, they still retain their power. Underwater or not, I doubt that after a nuclear apocalypse, an electric company will let them leave their lights on. Perhaps someone still alive may be powering them. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Perhaps someone from the bunker. But anyway, tinfoil hats off. If you continue following these pipes, you'll eventually arrive at what I find the most intriguing result yet. And that is a series of very not exactly small, but of medium-sized egg-shaped structures just poking out of the ocean floor. Each one equipped with a fan and what appears to be a power box of sorts, as well as a few lights around it that are also powered. Now, this to me suggests that it's made for personal use. These fans on it suggest that they're air conditioning or something like that, meant to keep its inhabitants cool. Now, what this video in total is proposing is that these underground pipelines only serve as perhaps transportation of resources for people in an underground bunker. I find it is completely feasible that these pipelines are transporting oxygen or something of that sort to the inhabitants of an underground structure. These small egg-shaped things poking out appear to only confirm that. They're obviously made for human use, from what it appears. They even have tiny little windows if you look closely. So keep in mind, this is all just up to speculation. I can't guarantee anything, because god dang it, I am wrong so often. If you go back and watch my videos, I do not have a very good track record with being right. However, sometimes I am, and I really believe this is one of those times. Now again, this is all speculation, but it appears that there is something big going on with these pipelines, with the NOS, Oceanological Society, and things of that sort. And perhaps, maybe in a future DLC, we will get to see an underground bunker of sorts. In a previous video, I actually talked about the harpoon gun being removed from the game. There was also a quest line called 20 Leagues Under the Sea, or 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, that was also deleted from the game, and perhaps these two entities will go into a future DLC, or something of that sort. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to leave a like if you liked, dislike if you disliked, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Have a great day, everyone. Peace, peace. Bye-bye, everybody.